Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that William Ruto criticized in the previous regime was the manner in which Uhuru Kenyatta was trying to handle the insecurity in the country. And at some point, William Ruto accused the former regime, of which he was part of trying to sabotage the lives or the security of the lives of his people, because he said he was the one who was being targeted, either to look that he was weak and that he could not help his people. And he promised them, as usual, because William Ruto promised very many things, that when he ascended to power, he was going to ensure that he got to the rock bottom of this security menace. About 15 years down the line, 15 months down the line, the level of insecurity has worsened than where it was. Now, the funniest part of it is that in their usual manner, they are now trying to throw blame games from one department to the other. Today, Gachagua was in Baragoi, which is at the heart of this violence and insecurity from bandits and cattle rustling. And he said something that was really shocking. He gave an ultimatum to the chiefs and assistant chiefs. And he told them that he's sure he know that the chiefs and the assistant chiefs know where those bandits are, and that they know who in particular owns the guns, because there seems to be a general feeling that illegal guns are in the hands of common man. And so he instructed them and gave them an ultimatum that if they don't recover those weapons, then they will lose their jobs. Take a look.
Rais wetu alikuja hapa na akaongea na akamwambia, nyinyi wale walaghai, wale wakora wamujaribu. Si aliwaambia? Akatuma vijana. Walinyorosha wako nyorosha. Huyo rais kuna bali ameenda? Si ni yeye tu? Sio vijana wako tu? Kuna bahali wako, si wako tu area hii Kenya? Wacha mimi niseme namna hii. Sisi kuna mambo hatuwezi kubali. Hii mambo ya wizi wa ng'ombe imepitwa na wakati. It is outdated cultural practice. Mambo ya kuua Mkenya mwingine ni mambo ambayo hawezi kubalika. Mambo ya kuua watoto ni mambo hawezi kubalika. Mambo ya kuhangaisha wamama ni mambo hatuwezi kubali. Wiki iliyopita hapa Baragoi wameua mwalimu. Si amezikwa jana? Mimi nataka niseme nikiwa hapa kanisani. Sitaki niongee na ukali kwa sababu niko kanisani. Niseme nyinyi tuko na nyinyi. Tuko na nyinyi. Mlikuwa mumeanza vizuri sana. Bunduki mlikuwa mumeanza kurudisha. Lakini mnaonekana mmesahau. Hizo bunduki mrudishe. Na mimi niambie machief na assistant chiefs, sisi ni waangwana sana tukiwa na rais. Lakini pia tuko na jukumu ya kulinda Wakenya. Wewe chief ama assistant chief, bunduki ziko kwako, wewe unajua. Muende musanya bunduki mrudishe. Na niseme nikitoka hapa leo, tukisikia mlio ya risasi kwa sublocation yako, wewe chief utaenda nyumbani. Utaenda nyumbani. Sasa hao machief na assistant chief wako na mabibi na watoto. Na sisi hatutaki akina mama na watoto kuhangaika. So mambo ni mawili. Chief akae kwake ama mlio ya risasi ikae. Na kwa sababu mlio ya risasi haina akili ya kuamua, mwenye kuamua ni nani? Chief. Mimi machief nataka kusema hapa kwa niaba ya rais, hiyo maneno nafanyika hapa hatuwezi kubali. Na nitaenda kupanga saa hii. Nitapanga saa hii. Wale wako na bunduki mrudishe haraka. Hakuna mlio wa risasi itakuwa hapa hii Christmas. Lazima watu wakule Christmas na amani.
This move has been criticized because I remember at some point even the lives of chiefs and those provincial administrations were at risk. At some point the bandits even killed one of the chiefs in those volatile areas. And so I have a feeling that when you instruct chiefs to go and collect the guns, illegal guns, in the hands of bandits, how are they going to do it? I know that the chiefs and the assistant chiefs also fall under the provincial administration, but then this is a responsibility that is too enormous for them. You see, what is happening here is that they are not facing the reality. The reality is this: we cannot take 1,000 policemen to Haiti when we are still bedeviled by this insecurity issues in our country. He himself is saying that a teacher was killed and was buried. He's got all these statistics. You remember the other time how the bandits, engaged policemen in a war, in a battle, until students in a certain school, I think that was somewhere in Baringo, lay on the ground. They even never went for lunch. Teachers never broke for breaks. And they stayed there, not even going for a short call. And the sound of bullets were raining in the air. And that was just about a few weeks before the national exams began. So this is a problem that we have had. But as many other promises, this government is unable to fight insecurity. Just like they are unable to fight corruption, to fight the cost of living. Everything that they promised and they signed has been thrown under the carpet. So Rigathi Gachagua and this government must be told, because just to be reminded that we cannot have a country that is unable to contain the insecurity in our own country. Our people are being butchered and killed. And we want to take 1,000 soldiers to Haiti. It doesn't make sense, and it beats logics. They have also continued to ignore the pieces of advice from experts. There was a time when the Trans Nzoia governor, George Natembeya, decided to go for a prayer, an interdenominational prayer that had been arranged by the national government. And he went there specifically because he wanted to talk to President Ruto. He told Ruto that the people who are arranging for you the red carpets here are the very, very people who are intertwined in this cattle business. He even said later that the meat that people enjoy in our cities, especially in Nairobi, come from those areas. And the question of the roadblocks and how these cows and cattle pass through the roadblocks when we have policemen came to the floor. And that any time the cattle have been stolen and people sometimes die in the process, there is a lot of corruption on the way, because they must be bribed for them to pass all the roadblocks to reach Nairobi. And some of these business mongols are the very, very people who are helping the police to locate the bandits. And I remember at some point, George Natembeya was saying that you could be given some coordinates that they are on the northern side of maybe Baragoi. And when you go to the northern part, the southern part is burning with bullets. So they must sit down and include all the stakeholders. This attitude of I know it all is something that will not help. You know, when they took over power, they wanted to do away with everything about Uhuru Kenyatta. Things like insecurity or security are very insensitive, so much that you can even decide to retain a PS in the Ministry of Interior or the minister, so that they work together for a period of a few months before you relieve them of their duties. So this is something that is not really workable. They must face, you know, the bull by its horns and understand what they're supposed to do. When you go ahead and intimidate our chiefs, I mean, what do you want them to do? I want you to be in their shoes. You are a chief or an assistant chief, and you are being told that you must collect the bullets and the illegal guns in the hands of these bandits. It is not possible. But one thing I'm also very sure, we have a government that believes in roadside, you know, declarations. Like he was saying in that church, that he just realized that there was a school there that was not up to the standard of one of their leaders. So he had given about 2 million to facelift that school. And some of these utterances, maybe they were just made to please the congregation there. You know, the government, the Kenya Kwanza government knows what is music to the ear, knows what they're supposed to say. They can make such declarations and then people will clap for them and they walk away. We now know that our bandits are not scared of threats. I remember sometimes the good CS in the Ministry of Interior, Kithure Kindike, threatened the bandits and he told them, we are coming for you. The very day he said we are coming for you, they were killing our policemen. We have the security, many of our security officers who have lost their lives in the hands of bandits. I was listening to some of the experts who were saying that some of these bandits are born and brought up with weapons. They know the terrain in the areas there where they are. Then you take people maybe from the training, people who don't even understand the area, and then you take them there, they lose, we really risk the lives of our security officers. This kind of threats cannot work. The government knows what they're supposed to do, and they want to beat around the bush. And this issue of insecurity is something that must be looked at very carefully, because we are putting the lives of innocent Kenyans at risk. Already even the teachers, like he was now telling us there that a teacher was killed. How will you then even force teachers to go in those prone areas? The other day, the teachers were forced to go to such places, and those who refused were relieved of their duties. You can now see how the long chain is. You don't fight corruption, it leads to this kind of insecurity. And then it leads to teachers who don't want to go to, you know, handle pupils and students in those areas. And then you end up, you know, sacking them in an environment where everyone needs a job. The scale of unemployed Kenyans is going higher and higher. We have a government that does not have any priority. The plans are not working, or the plans were there in theory, but they cannot be implemented. Is there anything good about this government? Hakuna. You wake up to, you know, every day you wake up to some pieces of news of insecurity, corruption, money laundering, and you wonder, where are we headed as a country? And you still want to tell me that we have a country? No.